spawns.
Well, look at this fine planet.
Oh, the moon. Oh no. Look, this is terrible. Look how much metal is on one side of this planet.
Why would they make this the finals map?
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Yeah.
It is the official map. Yeah, it is. No, I think everybody has to deal with the moon as it is, really.
Well, okay, it's just some planets like this will be in a certain distribution where you can never have fair spawn. So,
Yeah.
Murcanic in the middle of the mech field, and naginacz isn't. You want to let it play?
This is their tournament, and this is the map they chose. So yes, that's what I would do.
Okay.
In fact, this is round 6 of the Commander of March Pace Tournament, and in purple we have Murcanic getting it started, and in black we have naginacz, who I will currently refer to as Nagina from now on. Okay. With me here is Zaphod, and I am Metabolical.
Hello there.
So,
first factory coming out for Murcanic, going for bots.
and just before this started, actually both of them are going for bots. Just before this started, Zaphod and I were talking about the huge metal field into which the middle of which Murcanic has spawned, and nearby there's a pretty good field where Nagina started. If Nagina does have a disadvantage here, what should his approach be?
Well, I would say Murcanic does have a clear opening advantage. However, naginacz has got a very lovely dense clump of metal right next to him, and if he moves towards the North Pole, he can start taking some of this area that Murcanic has available to him, and not only deny that area to Murcanic, but get up his own metal there and take that advantage away from him. So I think that should be his primary goal.
I think that should be a good goal as well. I mean, he can actually do a lot just by running a Fabber over in that area as soon as he scouts and just plopping down a tower. Like, getting that first tower down really makes it a lot more difficult for Murcanic to just go and expand and take it all. Now, I think Murcanic knows that because he's created a couple docks which he is using to scout out the area himself. And I think he's using those docks as opposed to some kind of regular scout because he doesn't want to get cut off from this field.
I think maybe naginacz should concentrate on moving over to the North Pole and distracting Murcanic, and then using that opportunity to expand out the back of his base and try and take more map control that way as well.
Yeah, I think that would be a good opportunity. Actually, Murcanic didn't move his docks over towards the rest of that cluster. He kind of moved it over towards the northwest of his base, so the opportunity to get involved there still exists. But Nagina seems to be taking your implicit advice and going to the North Pole.
Yeah, it's interesting that he went slightly to the right as he moved north rather than to the left, because obviously that large area to the left of his base is the prime target. But he is getting out a air scout now, so he's probably going to be pretty up on the intel very soon.
Yep, that thing takes off, heads for the big cluster-o metal, and then turns back.
And turns back again.
Turns back again. Very confused, but he's going to figure it all out here. Spots the radar happening, spots the base, sees the commander, sees everything.
Yep. So he knows what situation he's in now. He can know where to expand. Actually going for vehicle factories already, quite a lot planned. He may get more assistance on that, so it looks like we're going to get a little bit of T1 action. Currently the meta strategy is to rush T2 of any kind. Vehicles, bots and air all work.
Yeah, I like that it feels like the viability of each of those 3 paths is there now, which makes us feel like the balancing isn't done, but it is kind of coming together. Now this docks up to the north is coming in here, and all he's got facing him is anti-air. So as soon as he arrives, he's going to be able to just destroy that fabricator, destroy the stinger, and just start taking out everything.
Very nice early win for Murcanic. That's totally denied that expansion to the north, which will be a very strong staging area for naginacz. Murcanic now has 2 separate engineers pumping out vehicle factories, and he's just started work on a T2 bot factory as well. He's really beginning to ramp up the production and move up to T2 as well.
Yeah. Right now, naginacz is just 1 metal extractor ahead of Murcanic, but with those 3 to the north being slowly picked away at by the docks, that may change. And just as I say that, 1 more for Murcanic, and they're dead even.
Scamper harassment just takes 2 engineers out at the bottom of naginacz base, and naginacz losing a little bit there. That's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
naginacz has had all of his expansion just cut off right now.
Yeah, he has lost quite a bit of his expansion opportunities. He's getting down his first radar there between their bases, makes total sense, and both of them have tanks moving out. Naginacz is a little bit ahead in the actual unit count with 70 units instead of 60, and may be able to turn that into a bit of an advantage.
I think we do still see 2 engineers from Murcanic working on factories though, so he's going to catch up pretty quick. He's also got engineers working on air factories as well. Using bombers can be pretty useful in T1 wars.
That is true. Yeah, the stream of tanks from both sides coming along nicely. I do feel like naginacz should have engaged there in the between them, because he moved away when his units were all blobbed up, and Murcanic was able to come in and like take out the fabricator working on the tower and now the radar, kind of for free.
He sent those tanks in along a route along the north in towards where that advanced bot factory is going. But at the moment he does need to protect his base. You see a turret going up with 2 engineers building it.
If you hold down the shift key, you'll see that Murcanic has a ton of metal extractor expansion planned. I don't know how many fabricators he has planned to do that, but if you then turn the planet over towards the side of naginacz, he does not have a lot of expansion planned. In fact, he has basically none. So that does not spell good news for him. Though maybe he's trying to just punch him with an early win, but it may be that that ship has already sailed.
Yeah, naginacz now falling on 114 metal to 149, so he's not building any more mechs at the moment. It's really going to stall his development.
Yeah, if he's going to have those units out there.
Engineers on T2 bot factory.
That's right. And if he's going to be out there like focusing on military, I'd really like to see him like start picking off and harassing some of those metal extractors, get rid of some of those buildings, that sort of thing. The chase is on for those tanks that have come all the way around those, so he may actually be able to plow through here and hit Murcanic's a bit here with that army.
A couple of bombers are out though now, so he's going to take a few pot shots at here, help him get rid of these tanks. Also, nice placement from Murcanic, where he's put some turrets in the front of his base, really stopping much intrusions into his area.
Yep, and takes out 1 metal extractor, stops the fabricator from building that bot factory, but that looks like, oh, he's going to get another fabricator. But I think that might be the end of the little raiding party here for naginacz. Now naginacz has started a little bit of an expansion down to the south of his base, so it's good to see that happening again. But I'm a little bit worried now that he is, 170 to 114 in terms of metal extraction.
Yeah, getting further and further behind. He does, however, have 6 engineers working on that T2 bot factory, so he's going to get up at a similar sort of time to Murcanic, as long as he doesn't stall Zico too bad. You can see on his efficiency, he's working about 60% right now.
Yeah, that is a efficiency. A little dip down for Murcanic as well in the efficiency. Both have about the same amount of energy, but Murcanic has way more metal being produced, so that's a problem for him. And then up to the north of naginacz's base, unfortunately, he had like a set of fabricators heading out, and they got bombed by a bomber, and which then killed his kind of latest expansion hopes.
Yeah, and just at the south as well, a couple of scampers move in and take out another engine here, which is just castrating naginacz and making things very difficult for him.
quite a row of air factories have been produced in Murcanic's base, and looking at it, he is almost done with his Tier 2 bot factory. Tier 2 bot factory is actually completed in building units for naginacz, but I don't know if he's going to have the economy to really support it. You can
T1 bombers are going to be able to take pot shots at those tanks.
Yeah, and you can see that he's got a bunch of engineers sitting around that Tier 2 bot factory, but they're not helping, and yet he is still only at 74% efficiency. Oh, they all start helping, and then he's down to 40% efficiency.
Yeah, this is why I always queue up extra commands, so build and then assist. Bombers at the north now, taking out those T1 tanks before he engages with his own units.
Yeah, and I think that we may have reached a tipping point where Murcanic is really just looking very strong. Now, he may be able to delay for a little while. He's got several of those double-barreled laser turrets surrounded by walls, and those are formidable, and they're hard to nail. If he gets a Tier 2 artillery or any kind of artillery, then they kind of become suddenly trivialized. But until then, not too great.
He's expecting to build sniper bots though.
South of the base, some docks come in by Murcanic, clean up an army there, like of some tanks, and then take out the expansion and another metal extractor. And Nagana has put up some of those kind of defensive turrets and walls on most sides of his base, but there is kind of an opening to the south and to the northeast of his base where really there is an opportunity to enter.
Those tanks are beginning to move in towards his base now.
Yep, he's getting surrounded there, and Murcanic discovered the expansion that Nagana has kind of to the east of his base, and those metal extractors did get produced, and they just kind of overflew it, but then didn't stop for it. But I really feel like if he's going to go out that far, he should, be putting up some kind of defense so that the harassment doesn't continue to just take his stuff.
Getting up the laser turrets for these tanks coming in. Those tanks probably aren't going to get too far. A couple of walls in the way as well.
Yep, those walls are going to make a huge difference.
You can see as those tanks have been vaporized without many winds at all.
Yep, and they're just a little bit out of range of the tower now, so they may try to come around. Sniper butt coming out and gets a couple shots, but the tanks just go right by and say like, oh, more economic damage, that'll be fine.
Both players working at T2 Eco, and unsurprisingly Murcanic is going for a nuke here. He's probably going to assist out the whole load of engineers and use that to finish the game.
That would be a game finisher for somebody you kept bottled up like that, that's for sure. All the way around the backside of the planet, though, Naginacz has started to get some production out. He's even putting down a bot factory, which may use to just try to slurp up a bunch of economy. It might be a little bit difficult for him to get that to happen and be useful in time, but in the meantime, it does provide him a good avenue of hope.
Naginacz finally beginning to grow his eco a little bit with the T2 mechs.
And a similar thing must be happening on in Murcanic's base because he has 535 metal going. I guess most of it is Tier 1, but he does have a cluster of 4 Tier 2 in the middle of his base near the air factories and the advanced bot factory. A raid going on the south side of the base of Naginacz. Some bombers coming through and some bots finding the exposed units there. The bombers can actually just take out those laser turrets, so wouldn't be a terrible idea for them to focus on that since none of them have any anti-air next to them. And even as I say it, it starts to happen.
Murcanic's also put a load of assistance on that nuke. It will not take too long. And Murcanic's sitting on twice as much eco. It's a massive advantage.
And 50% more actual units in game. From a metal perspective. Well, from a metal perspective, a third as much from a unit count perspective. So some good expansion happening on the backside of the planet for Naginacz, but he has kind of stopped. I think he's lost track of that expansion, being so busy with stuff in his base. And the bombers have taken out one of those like laser tower positions, and they're working on another one.
No, they're just circling around. There we go.
They're getting it. They got it.
Nuke actually planned from Naginacz, which is interesting, assisting it with a lot of build power as well. So I guess turn up and go for nuke is a pretty good strat in his situation. But Murcanic almost 40% of the way through his nuke.
Yep. If he, when you're in a when you it's kind of the desperate times call for desperate measures, right? If he gets in there and nukes the middle, like right where the commander is for Murcanic, the effect would actually be pretty dramatic. Like that's where all his tier 2 metal extractors are. That's where his near there is where his tier 2 energy is. He's got a bunch of other energy there. A lot of his fabricators are clustered there, as well as the nuclear missile itself. It wouldn't necessarily turn the game for sure, but it would be a pretty heavy hit. Now,
bombers coming in there, they destroy a little bit of the build power, and do a lot of damage to the nuke.
They did take out
a little bit of damage.
A fair amount there. There are two flax cannons down and a third one going up, but the tanks are moving around the backside. I'm kind of expecting them to work their way in here at some point, but there's the laser towers on every side. A little bit difficult. I think he may just be kind of waiting for the nuke. 40% done for Naginacz, and where are we on it? Like 90%.
Almost 90% for Murcanic.
Yep.
More build power for Naginacz, but I don't think he can afford that anymore. It was a good move though. It did give him a chance to get in there. More build power now going on Murcanic's.
It'd be interesting to see if
even more build power for Naga. That nuke is now finished, ready to launch very soon.
And there it goes.
There it goes.
And tracking it in. And he's going to see it. He's going to go right for the middle of the base, and he's going to lose all of those fabrication. And that is, you see a giant drop in the metal in existence for Naginacz, and his eco tumbles, and that's a good game getting called right there. GG indeed. So it did feel like there was a kind of an advantage there for Murcanic from the beginning based on the metal spawns there. I think there was some opportunity for Naginacz to get over there and say, like, I'm going to put down a stake here and try to make something happen, but he just either wasn't able to capitalize on it, it was too far, not enough information, and the advantage just stayed with Murcanic the whole time.
I think one of the big problems was Murcanic got some very important wins on expanding engineers early on, which really, really slowed down Naginacz.
Yeah, in many ways, the initial build of those docks to explore by Murcanic ended up damaging a lot of Naginacz's, desire to expand. He ended up getting harassed at every place he tried to expand.
A lot of the problem is once you lose those units, you've got to immediately send out replacement stuff. Otherwise, you forget about it a couple of minutes later, and you've actually moved further behind, which is the disadvantage.
That is correct.